Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring the Rust and Ruin sourcebook. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review, featuring this grimdark version of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to continue with the character classes, starting with the Exorcist. A solitary figure who walks the thin line between light and darkness. In a world plagued by horrors and evil spirits, the Exorcist is the last glimmer of hope, the final defense against the encroaching darkness. The Exorcist is proficient in all armor and shields. Now, I think there is an error here because it says except monk, no armor proficiency. But there is no monk in the subclasses, there is the wound mender. There is also a mistake here because it says to restore hit points equal to 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier plus your monk level. So I think that's the mistake, that the wound mender was confused with the monk. The Exorcist feels a bit like a combination of paladin, monk, and cleric. You are proficient in the use of simple weapons. Your saving throws are based on wisdom and constitution. You have skills such as history, medicine, persuasion. And when it comes to hit points, you are somewhat sturdy. Let's talk about some of the features. We have Vanishing Strike. Your strikes carry the power to banish evil entities. When you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can choose to expend a key point to force the target to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is banished to its home plane. Then we have feats such as Purifying Touch. Your touch has the power to cleanse and heal. Using your key points, you are able to remove disease or poison. You also have Shield of Faith. You can use your holy energy to create a shield of faith around yourself or an ally. You also have Aura of Exorcism. Your presence radiates a powerful aura that repels evil entities. You and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened by undead creatures or fiends. And these are just a few of the features. You also have other things such as Turn Undead, Flurry of Blows, etc. Now let's talk about the subclasses or archetypes. You have the Wound Mender. The Wound Mender uses holy powers to support their allies. This is all about healing, boosting, protecting, support. And then we have the Shadow Cloister. This is a dark and mysterious exorcist who has learned to harness the power of shadows and use them to sow fear and chaos among their enemies. This is all about becoming one with the shadows, being quite stealthy and terrorizing others. Next we have the Dark Wizard. Perhaps this is my favorite class of this book, perhaps. The powers of the Dark Wizard delve into forbidden knowledge and dark arts, of course. While others seek to protect and preserve, the Dark Wizard embraces the shadows and the unknown. You are proficient in the use of light armor, the use of simple weapons. Your saving throws are based on wisdom and charisma. This Dark Wizard feels a bit like pretty much like a warlock wizard. You have skills such as Arcana, History, Intimidation, Nature. You are quite low when it comes to hit points, of course. When it comes to your feats and features, you have Eldritch Blast Mastery. When you cast Eldritch Blast, you can add your Charisma modifier to the damage roll. You also have Dark Pact. You gain advantage on Charisma Deception and Charisma Intimidation checks when dealing with creatures who are aware of your warlock abilities, like devils and demons. There is also Eldritch Sight. You can cast the Detect Magic spell at will without expending a spell slot. And these are just some of the features. You also have some other warlock powers and abilities such as Eldritch Invocations, Pact Boons, etc. Let's talk about these subclasses. First we have the Annihilator. The Annihilator is a wizard archetype that specializes in harnessing the power of destructive magic. You are quite deadly when it comes to casting spells that deal direct damage. You get bonuses to your damage, of course, to the point that in a limited way, you can actually maximize the possible damage of one of your spells. This is at higher levels and you need to take a long rest before using this again. And then we have my favorite dark archetype or specialization, the Lich. A spellcaster who has achieved immortality through dark rituals and a phylactery containing their soul. You turn into a Lich. At 3rd level, you begin the transformation. And at higher levels, you become a fully fledged Lich, to the point that you can animate death without expending a spell slot. Of course, you have to take a long rest before using it again. And of course, you have other things, such as an aura of death, that makes your necrotic damage quite deadly when you cast spells with such effects, and the Lich's Grasp, allowing you to drain the life force from your enemies when you touch them. There is a somewhat robust section explaining everything about the path to Lichdom. What is a Lich, the weaknesses, the strengths, immortality, your phylactery, and also the reasons as to why you would become a heroic Lich. There are heroic Liches, for example, in the Forgotten Realms campaign setting, but here you have various reasons establishing the character's background according to the motivation, how to overcome different challenges, inspiring others. This not only applies to a Lich, also to more anti-hero or pseudo-hero type of characters. Perhaps you are facing great evil because that evil rivals your power, so you want to become the next overlord, and the current villains are a threat to your reign of terror. So it all depends on how you handle that. Then we have the Druid, which feels a lot like a barbarian druid. This is a force of nature. This is a combatant that fights for the wilds and all that reside within them, using rage to fuel magic. When it comes to your armor, you are proficient in things such as light armor, medium armor, but no metal armor, of course. When it comes to weapons, you are able to use clubs, daggers, darts in a proficient way, as well as scimitars, sickles, slings, spears, etc. Your saving throws are based on intelligence and wisdom. When it comes to skills, you have things such as animal handling, insight, nature, perception, survival. You are somewhat sturdy when it comes to hit points. Let's talk about some of the feats of the Druid. You have Fury of the Wild. Your anger fuels your magic, enabling you to cast spells with increased potency while enraged. You also have Savage Transformation. You can tap into your inner rage to transform into a more powerful and ferocious form. There is also Feral Instincts. Your anger sharpens your senses, allowing you to detect and react to danger with lightning-fast reflexes. While raging, you have advantage on initiative rolls and dexterity saving throws. So this is all about the rage, the primal roar. You have Nature's Blessing, Elemental Affinity, Fury's Endurance, all about that. A barbarian druid, effectively. You have the druid archetype of Circle of Vengeance. This is a druidic circle that channels the fury and wrath of nature itself. These druids are driven by a deep sense of justice and seek to avenge the harm done to the natural world. So you are a natural avenger of sorts. You have things such as Nature's Vengeance. You gain the ability to harness the furious power of nature to strike down your enemies. When you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend the use of your wild shape feature to deal additional damage equal to your druid level. So this is all about bonuses to your attacks and your spells. At the higher levels, you can turn into an avatar of Retribution. You gain advantages or bonuses, or rather benefits, such as your melee weapon attacks deal additional damage equal to your druid level, or you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. And when you deal damage to a creature that has damaged you or your allies within the past minute, you can use your reaction to regain hit points equal to half the damage dealt. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to talk about weapons and gear, because there are various nuances that make this arsenal a bit more unique when compared to your average Dungeons and Dragons 5e session. I really like these classes. When it comes to the Dark Wizard, I love it. I am completely in love with the possibility of turning into a Lich at the lower levels. In the case of the Exorcist, I think that you are quite versatile, but you also have to wonder the mindset of an exorcist existing in a world of almost absolute evil. You have to become even more monstrous than the enemies that you are facing in order to defeat them. So you really wonder if that exorcist is quite monstrous at the core of his soul. And in the case of the druid, it's all about the rage, the vengeance, and that fuels your magic and your melee attacks. I really love these character classes, all of them. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. This has been Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. If you want me to run a game for you, please check out the pinned comment below. And remember, roleplay solves everything. Once again, thank you, and see you later.